That's why no one's really acting for the camera, so it has a real feel about it.
Okay.
You weren't necessarily
No, we're kind of all
sure
the
when
same
you were being
team.
covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready, camera one. Hit it.
Good morning, I'm Jim McKay speaking to you live from the Olympics in Munich, West Germany.
The set was absolutely incredible. The detail to a T. A very small set. But would you say that the whole setting of it all had an effect on your performance?
Oh, yeah, it was like going into a time warp. I mean, we spent most of the day on set. There are movies where you go back to your trailer. I think I was in my trailer in the very earliest morning and then after work. I think that was it. Maybe for lunch.
But maybe got like 20 minutes in there at lunchtime and that was it. It was just you on set filming the whole time because the nature of the shoot, everybody was there.
And all the rooms were connected, right? These weren't like, sometimes in films, there'll be this room over here and this, on sound stages. And the hallways were all connected and everything was laid out as it was. So it was like being inside of
an actual studio.
Oh my goodness.
Our studio was like an actual studio.
It was.
But a TV one. Yeah. So, when you went through the entrance to our studio, which would normally, there would be quite a long walk to the set, there wasn't really. There was a few feet to the corridor. In fact, for example, when you get in your car, when he gets in his car in the movie,
I'm opening the door to the studio.
He's opening the door to the studio. That is the door to our film studio. That was the TV studio. So it really was sort of...
Yeah, or even when I went to go look at the helicopters, we're walking through the actual studio.
So they kind of built a real studio with connecting corridors. It was like it was.
Yeah.
And the circuitry and the control room, that board and everything was recreated to the blueprint of the ABC plan. Yeah.
That's right.
And normally they would make it so walls fly out, things like that, so that the camera could fit. But they didn't do any of that. They basically put
walls.
2 cameras with 3 people operating each one, and all of us into one tiny room, and we
not much bigger than this. It really was packed.
Yeah, quite a
Real
bit of
cigarette smoke
climbing
and everything.
through C-stands and lifting up cables and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You turn and see, the monitor. The camera would be on Peter, and I'd see Peter's face here. I mean, it was. But you got used to it.
Talk me through the day.
Starts with volleyball, then there's boxing.
Good. It's America versus Cuba.
Sure you want to bring in the politics?
It's not about politics. It's about emotion.
That's why no one's really acting for the camera, so it has a real feel about it.
Okay.
You weren't necessarily
No, we're kind of all
sure
the
when
same
you were being
team.
covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess you guys can definitely say one of the more intimate sets that you've worked on.
Yes. And one of the more real ones, like everyone was focused all the time. I mean, look, we're messing around after cut, but what I mean is when you're rolling, which was a lot of the time, it was very
long takes.
Long takes. Every person in that room, including background artists and extras, were very focused and on the same thing. So that actually makes it quite easy.
We are the only people capable of following it live. This is our story, and we're keeping it.
What do I tell the camera?
Tim gives the mundane its beautiful due, to quote John Updike, I think.
I like that. That's really well put.
And the thing is, if you keep focusing on that and giving everything its breath and its life, you end up with a true whole. You end up with a whole that is authentic. And at the time, it can feel like nitpicking, but actually, it creates something beautiful that's bigger than the sum of its parts. Like he has that attention to detail. With the
I was just daydreaming
design
about him. He's like this.
Yeah, no, he was. He's so sad.
Just,
mind is on so many things.
Yeah. That's,
He was
always.
He was keeping his
Going.
mind on the bigger picture all the time. He really is he did it. It's kind of an incredible achievement what he did in this film, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes I would think, can I just see what's in your eyes for a second so I can figure it out?
Yeah, let's put a screen on that head of yours.
Yeah.
Let me in, basically.
It was all directors spin plays, but he wanted to be fully in control of it, didn't he?
To tell the story of these individuals whose lives are at stake.
It's not okay if we made it worse.
What was your attraction towards this intersection of the Olympic hostage crisis and a live TV coverage? What was it that attracted you to that intersection between those two elements?
It was during our research that we learned more and more on how an important role the media played on that day, and I didn't know that before. There have been movies about this tragedy before, but this aspect, I think, hasn't been explored fully yet, and we were immediately very much interested in that. And this is for I also want to say I'm someone working in the media myself, so a lot of these questions that this crew gets confronted with, I could relate to in a way, in a different way maybe, but we were very interested in that. And as we continued our research, we then were lucky enough to find an eyewitness. And that was Jeffrey Mason. That's the character in the film played by John Magaro. And he was there as a young rookie working for ABC Sports, and he experienced how they make that switch from reporting on the Olympics to reporting on this crisis. And listening to his story, that was what he told us of what they experienced and what challenges they faced. That was so interesting to us and also seemed very relevant from today's point of view, like from how we consume the media today, so that we decided that after this conversation, it was the first time that we thought about maybe we can tell the story entirely from that perspective.
That's incredible. Wow.
And also from a filmmaker's point of view, I was also intrigued immediately by the challenge of how can I tell a story that basically is almost like a chamber play. It takes place entirely in that one room with the monitors as the only windows to the outside world.
I think to me that was the most exciting of it all. It really shows you how much you rely on your crew, how they're your eyes on the ground, and you have so many important decisions to make in that moment.
Absolutely.
You know the whole world is watching. If they shoot someone on live television, whose story is that? Is it ours or is it theirs?